Beco do Batman, a trendy alley located in the Vila Madalena neighborhood of Sao Paulo. Famous for its graffiti-filled walls and artsy vibe, Batman's Alley has gradually become a very underrated tourist hotspot for visitors. As a Chinese Canadian first time in Brazil, I was excited to see what this trendy neighborhood had to offer. Main questions in mind included, was this place worth the hype? What can a non-Portuguese speaking foreigner expect in this area? And most importantly, was I gonna find Batman? What's good everybody, this is CP and I'll be your crappy tour guide for today. So let's not waste any more time and 走起吧. I stayed on Paulista Avenue, one of the busiest hubs in the city. To get to Batman Alley, I decided to take an Uber, which took about 15 minutes. According to Google Maps, it takes about half an hour to get there by subway, or about an hour by walking. So if you are staying on Paulista or anywhere else in the city, Batman Alley is a bit out of the way, since it is not close to other tourist areas like the Mercado, Paulista Avenue, Central, or Liberdade. For those unaware, Beco de Batman is located in the Vila Madalena neighborhood of Sao Paulo, a wealthy residential area with an artsy vibe. Overall, the alley is hidden between streets and an urban intersection. Surprisingly, it isn't that big, so it's kind of easy to miss. So I finally made it to the Beco de Batman neighborhood. I apologize for my pronunciation, but it's called like the Batman Alley, so I'm gonna go check out the street art and see how it goes. So come follow me. I went on a quiet weekday morning and there weren't too many people there, so in a way it felt like a normal alley in a residential area and did not feel like a tourist area at all. But apparently on weekends there are more vendors along with locals and tourists visiting the area, making the place a bit more busy. The graffiti is one of the biggest attractions in this alley, so if you are into arts you could spend a good hour here looking at all the drawings. I'm not a huge art person, but many of the drawings seem to be referencing a political or social issue or something related to pop culture today. So if you are from Brazil, you might have a better idea of the meaning behind some of these drawings. At this point, I was wandering around the alley for about 15 minutes, but still saw no signs of Batman. Perhaps the graffiti on the wall was trying to tell me something, but I just couldn't figure it out. Maybe I needed some luck or a little bit of help from you guys, so... For 15 years of good luck, hit that like button now and activate your good fortunes. Do it now. Surprisingly, the alley isn't that big, and you have to be careful when walking around because the ground is uneven in a lot of areas. As you can see, there weren't many people there on a quiet weekday morning, so I pretty much had parts of the alley to myself. However, when crowds build up, you can imagine there's not much space in the alley to move around or take good pictures. So it might be good to go before 10:30 if you want to take good photos to show off to your friends. Also, remember that there aren't many buildings with covers around Batman Alley. So if you go on a rainy day, it might be tough to stay dry. So I think I finally made it here, and this area reminds me of Melbourne and laneways in Melbourne, so it's pretty cool. Not too many tourists here this morning, but I think at this point you can pretty much pick any painting or picture to take a picture of and take some pretty cool IG photos here, so be sure to check mine out because there is so much to choose from. As I continued to look for Batman, I came across a local vendor just outside the alley. There weren't too many vendors open that morning, but this one seemed interesting, so I decided to support a local artist and got myself a custom-made t-shirt. The process wasn't long and it was cool to see my t-shirt being made right before my eyes. In the end, I got a red custom-made t-shirt with the famous Brazilian footballer Pele on it. As expected, not many people there spoke English, so you might need Google Translate to do some work for you. After failing to find Batman in the alley, I decided to take a quick look in the surrounding area. As you can see, it is a very peaceful area, and in some ways it just felt like a normal residential area.
It's getting a bit windy, but I'm gonna keep exploring the neighborhood, and it's a pretty decent residential neighborhood. Have a lot of decent looking apartments.
It was a lot less hectic than other parts of Sao Paulo, like Paulista Avenue and Central, but at the same time I didn't find the area that interesting.
So after walking through the Batman alley, I'm moving into a different area, and I found this Esta Escalade Favela tour, so please help me translate if you speak Portuguese or understand.
But the one thing that caught my eye were these sets of stairs filled with graffiti. In some way, it reminded me of a poor man's version of the Escadaria Celeron in Rio. If you haven't watched that video yet, make sure you do so before I delete it.
These stairs remind me a little bit of the Esteron stairs in Rio. Maybe not as famous, but still, I think it looks pretty dope, so check it out. And not sketchy at all. This is a very arts vibe, so as you can see as I keep walking up here, so there's lots and lots of art on every stair, so, and the details of these stairs are not bad, so if you know what this says, please translate in the comments below as well. And here's an aerial shot of the area. It's pretty nice. And walking up the stairs, you can see the nice apartments right here. So this doesn't seem like such a bad area, but it's I guess a little bit older, so it's more artsy.
Aside from that, nothing really stood out in the area, but apparently there are some good restaurants worth trying if you're hungry. But overall, I wouldn't call this neighborhood a must-see tourist area, so if you're stressed for time, you probably don't need to spend much more time exploring the surrounding neighborhoods outside of Batman Alley. Overall, if you're a fan of street art and want to take a few cool photos, Batman Alley is definitely worth a visit. In my opinion, it is one of the more unique streets you'll find in Sao Paulo. In a way, I feel like this alley offers the average tourist a better taste of local culture and a taste of the art scene in Sao Paulo as well. However, this might not be worth a visit if street art is not your thing, as it is a bit of a drive from most tourist areas. For the average traveler, I think spending around half an hour to 45 minutes in Batman Alley is enough and should give you plenty of time to take all the photos you want. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find Batman, but got myself a nice custom-made t-shirt and some nice photos in the process instead. So for those of you who are planning to visit in the future, make sure the weather is good, bring a good camera, and see if you can help me find Batman. And if you're able to find Batman, definitely let me know where he was hiding. If you want me to be your crappy tour guide for other places and random food adventures, make sure you subscribe and check out my playlist for my other crappy videos. Go watch them now before I delete them all tomorrow. 走起吧。